What's going on, guys? It's Groove. Today we're going over the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Now, this is one of my favorite books of all time. I've read this thing like 5 or 6 times. I love this thing so much that I had to get the deluxe hardcover. Well, no, this is like the leather-bound version, but I also had the regular version. I've read this thing so many times. This thing is so big and so important that I cannot do a book review on this. So we're just going to have to break this thing down into, I just want to do some tips actually. So we're going to go over top 5 laws that you can do for life and business and school and work and yada, yada, yada. Like, I feel like that would be the best way to break this book down because it's just too much to cover in like a 10 to 15 minute video. And so for this first video, we're going to go over some of my favorite laws when it comes to life. Now, again, when it comes to the 48 Laws of Power, this book is about power and like the dark side of life, I guess, maybe like manipulation. So this isn't going to be like some happy-go-lucky laws. Like, this is about power. This is about dominance and how you can use those things in life. And not only that, because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like this book. Knowing this stuff, it allows you to understand when you're being manipulated, when somebody's trying to use power on yourself. And so you can use this as defense in life as well. So again, we're just going to go over some laws that I think that are important for just general life. So the first law we're going to go over is Law 10, and that's stay away from the unhappy. And he wants to let you know that emotions are contagious. And so if you're constantly around negative people, if you're constantly around unhappy people or unlucky people, these people can drain you. They can make you unhappy. They can make you unlucky. And so he's like, if you see these people in life, like, get away from them. Like, do not be around unlucky people. A lot of people may be drawn to help people that are unhappy or unlucky. Like, they feel like they need to help these people, and you're like, you can't help these people, so just get them out of your life. You know, us as humans, we are very susceptible to moods and emotions. And so if you're constantly hanging around unlucky people, unhappy people, negative people, that will just bring you down. So you just need to get away from those people. So for the next law, we're going to go into Law 18. Don't build a fortress. In life, isolating yourself is not the right way to go about things. You know, a lot of people want to sit there and say, like, I can do this myself, or, you know, I don't need anybody's help. And he's like, that's one of the worst things you can do in life is to isolate yourself, because you're isolating yourself from allies, you're isolating yourself from information and knowledge, and then that's when you can get left behind in the life, in this world. So he says you need to stay in the center, stay in the mix of things, and so you need to know what's going on so you can adapt and move throughout this life. Power is a human creation, so again, if you want more power, you need to be in contact with more people. The more people you're in contact with, the easier it is to gain power. So Law 24, this is probably going to be my favorite law of the entire book, and it is playing the perfect courtier. So these people were in courts. You know, these were all of the people that surrounded the kings and the noblemen. You know, every time you will see like an old movie of, like, you know, some Middle Ages time, and you had the king and then you have all the people on those tables. Those people were all noble people, but those were the courtier. Those were the people that were around the king, and they had power. It just wasn't as great as the kings, and you needed to know how to play your position. You need to be like master manipulators and understanding your position, understanding how to move pieces around. You know, I believe the guy's name was Littlefinger. I believe that's what his name was on the Game of Thrones. Like, that guy was probably the perfect representation of a courtier in that series. He was always behind the scenes. He was always making things happen. He always had power, and he wasn't in some crazy high position either, but he just knew how to manipulate people. And that's a great way to get power in life, is to just become the perfect courtier. It allows you to dominate power over people graciously, like without them even knowing that it's happening. You appear almost like a magician of sorts in life. Oftentimes, you'll end up even more powerful than the ruler themselves. Again, it goes back to being a master manipulator. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you need to understand how to talk to people differently. Like, you need to approach everybody differently, you know, whether it be in life or work. You can't just be yourself at all times. You need to understand when to play different roles. And as well with that, you need to master your emotions. You need to understand when to cry and laugh on demand, Again, you need to be the master. You need to be like a master manipulator. Always be willing to adapt. You need to be able to keep up with the times. So many people today are just like, yeah, I see that new thing happening, but I don't want nothing to do with that. That's not me. That's not who I am. Or I don't want to change for anybody. And this hinders people in life. This caps people and can sometimes even, hurt them to where they're at a worse off position because they didn't want to change, because they didn't want to adapt, because they couldn't play the perfect courtier, especially in corporate world. You need to know when to play positions and when to, act a certain way around different people. And law 25, and this law is recreate yourself. Like, never stop recreating yourself. Don't accept the roles that society put on you. Be the master of your own image. Your parents, your friends, your peers, they all kind of have an image of who you are, but that's okay, but make sure you're in control of your own image. Make sure you know who you are and you're not just who your friends think you are. Again, you need to take control of yourself. You can remake your character into one of power. You don't just have to be small or, live small, or somebody thinks that you're just that, Steve from accounting. Like, you can take control of your own image and go after power. Constantly work on yourself, constantly work on your image and your character like clay. You should always be working to shape your image in the way that you want it to be. And the last law when it comes to life, I would believe, would be the last law itself, law 48. Be formless. The best way to protect yourself in this life is you need to constantly be able to adapt, constantly be like water and be able to adapt to any situation. Nothing in life is a constant. Everything is changing, and you need to be able to change with it, whether that be, the weather, work, friends, in the environment. If you're living in a certain place and work dries up and there's no opportunities, you need to be able to move. Like, there's a lot of people have kind of hindered themselves because they are unwilling to adapt, unwilling to move to where new work is or where new opportunities go. So you constantly need to be able to adapt and to, again, be fluid like water, to go where opportunity strikes. And with formlessness, you also need to train yourself to take nothing personal. Make sure nobody knows what gets to you. Nobody should know your weakness. This will infuriate your competition. And we need to constantly work on becoming adaptive, because the older we get, the more stuck in our ways we become. And it just gets harder and harder to adapt to new things, new technologies, new ways of thinking. So we need to constantly be working on our adaptive abilities and constantly being formless and constantly, upgrading our thinking in life. And so that's pretty much it for that one. Those are a few of my favorite laws when it comes to life. I'm going to be doing a bunch of these because this book is just too much to cover in one video. So hopefully you stick around for some more, and like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.